All right, Matt, UFC going back to their Apex facility after a successful run at Yas Island, Fight Island. And this is a really interesting card. I mean, last weekend we had 15 fights on the final Fight Island card. This weekend, 11. Kicking off at the bantamweight division. No weight, scratch that record. This one at featherweight between El Guapo, Chris Gutierrez taking on Cody Durden. Matt, it's interesting because Chris Gutierrez was planned to go to 35 at bantamweight, taking on Luke Sanders. Sanders out, not really a whole lot surrounding that one as to why he's out. But in steps Cody Durden, a guy that people might be familiar with from the regional scene in the Southeast, a guy that trains at American Top Team Atlanta and American Top Team Lima. With the two Lima brothers, of course, he met Diego Lima to kick it off, not Douglas, but now he knows Douglas. Training with some of the best guys in the business in some of the lower weight classes. Rafael Sunsao is one of those guys. We can go down through the list, Will Brooks, and so on and so forth. He's a guy that has a background in wrestling. He can really get it done in a lot of different ways, and one of the few guys that I've seen in one night fight in kickboxing, boxing, and MMA and win all of those fights, albeit the MMA fight was against a guy who was 0-1. And he knocked him out due to slam, but wild stuff there from Cody Durden. Like I said, bit of a Swiss Army knife. He's taken on one of the Scoggins. It wasn't UFC Scoggins, it wasn't Justin Scoggins, it was Jared Scoggins. But regardless, Cody Durden can get it done in a lot of different ways, but it's a tough hill to climb against Chris Gutierrez, a guy that lost his UFC debut against Raoni Barcelos, but since then, he's won 3 in a row. He's looked great. His last performance was at the Apex facility against Vince Morales. Finished him, TKO due to leg kicks. And again, this is one of those battles of top gyms because you have Factory X with Chris Gutierrez, you have American Top Team Atlanta with Cody Durden. What do you make of this matchup?
It's an interesting fight, and it's a really exciting fight to kick off the card, I think so. But just because Chris Gutierrez, what we saw in his last fight on the Burns-Woodley card, which wasn't that long ago, really quick turnaround for him. If you win via TKO due to leg kicks...
Timeout. Really quick turnaround. I just want to say this. For Cody Durden, he fought just over a week ago and won by TKO.
Exactly. No, that's what I was going to get to. So you think Chris Gutierrez is having a quick turnaround. Cody Durden, it's doing it basically Shemaev style at this point. So really got to respect that. But I think you did mention it. Cody Durden, when you really go through his record and look at the top guys who he's beaten, the best guy we ever beat was 10-3. And not take anything away from it, but you really do need to kind of vet those guys they fought outside the UFC or in those smaller promotions, because sometimes you're not always fighting the best guys. There's a lot of 0-1s, 1-0s, 0-0s in that on his record. And when you're fighting a guy like Chris Gutierrez, who's been in the UFC, he's a proven guy, insanely good striker, or at least after his last fight, I have to kind of put him in that category, because up until that, didn't really know what you're going to get from Chris Gutierrez. After that, he was Bangkok ready, just throwing those calf kicks, doing a really great job. Really high-level striking from Gutierrez. I think this should be a fun fight for as long as it lasts, but I'm definitely favoring the guy with the UFC experience, and he's definitely fought the higher-level competition in Gutierrez.
It was interesting, in one of the interviews that I saw with Cody Durden before his last fight, which was just about a week ago, he was talking with Ryan of Between Rounds Radio, that you might know from old Bangor, Maine, and he said that in terms of a comparison between him and some other fighters, Corey Sandhagen was one of the fighters that was kind of brought up. And the other thing, he's a lineman with Georgia Power, so he's got a steady day job doing the fighting as well, and it's a pretty good opportunity to pop into the UFC rather than, an appearance with Dana White's Contender Series. You never really know how it's going to go. So Cody Durden in the UFC, it's a tough hill to climb, like I said from the start. Chris Gutierrez, a -320 favorite. Durden coming in +250 in his Octagon debut. Over on Tapology to 557 votes. 87% Gutierrez, 63% by decision. How do you see this one going here?
So, I gave it away a little bit earlier. Chris Gutierrez is probably going to be able to get the win. I think this is going to be a great learning experience for Durden, though, no matter what the outcome of this fight is. I just think, again, all the experience and the high-level experience that Gutierrez is bringing into this fight, it's really hard to pick against it. But I do think this will be a really entertaining fight for the first one on the card.
And a good one for Chris Gutierrez, because in that 3-fight win streak, Ryan McDonald, Geraldo de Freitas, and then the last one, like I said, Vince Morales. And we've got 2 top gyms. So, again, pretty good learning experience for Cody Durden. Okay. I'm going to side as well with Chris Gutierrez to get the win. And Matt, you're not going to want to miss the rest of the previews for this card. We've got a great 11-fight card, including a main event that's just 3 rounds between Derek Brunson and Edmund Shahbazyan. So keep it locked in with that, Matt. Keep it locked in with Fight Night picks. And as we always say, let's get into it.